on today's show, we're going to some of the top Cowboys trade candidates. After the draft, before we get really deep into the training camp and the preseason, I am focused on players the Cowboys could actually trade. That eliminates several notable names, by the way. And I want to focus on those who actually have value. Like, yeah, cool, let's trade away Jalen Cropper. No one's going to be mad about it. No one's trading for him either. So let's begin with kind of the elephant in the room, and that's the superstar edge rusher, Micah Parsons. I know there is a segment of the fan base that wants to trade him away. I don't think that happens. I don't think either side involved, any side involved, when it like split it down between Micah and his agent and the Cowboys and different factions within the Cowboys, I don't think there's anyone that really wants him gone. I don't think either side wants that. Now, I do fully anticipate the regular Cowboys contractual nonsense of just, for whatever reason, sometimes different reasons, they just don't get that deal done with the urgency and the timing that I know a lot of us want it to. So as a reminder, we are doing the Micah decision pool. You pick the date, Micah gets signed, or I guess traded, whatever the finality is there. You can visit chatsports.com/Micah to see the entries, and it'll redirect you to a Google sheet that has it, but that's a lot easier than trying to link the Google sheet URL. It makes no sense. Venmo me at @WhatGoingDowney, $5 to get in on that, and we'll do a 50-50 split the pot for the winner. As of filming, $1,750 is the take-home right now. So let's talk the real trade candidates then. Let's stick in that pass rushing room. How about Sam Williams? Now, there's complications here. Make no mistakes about that. The investments that have been placed at that room could put Williams on the outside looking in. I thought he kind of wasn't as good in 2023 as he was in 2022. And what was hopefully going to be a, year 3 breakout for Sam Williams never happened this past season. And now they've kind of stacked players on top of him. Obviously, Micah. They signed Dante Fowler to a 1-year deal. They drafted Donovan Ezeraku and Marshawn Nealon in back-to-back years in round 2 after already spending a second themselves on Sam Williams. Now, for all of these players, we'll mention the contractual impacts here. It's not actually that expensive. The cap hit for the Cowboys right now is about $1.98 million. The new team would owe $1.55, and that's about your savings as well. That's the cash you're saving if you were to trade away Sam Williams. The problem is he's coming off a torn ACL. I would wonder if, depending on when he's back and healthy, which I think is going to be in time for camp, I'm not actually too concerned about that one, you could see him if he has a great camp and flashes a lot in the preseason. Maybe it seemed like the Commanders could come through and offer you something in terms of it's probably going to be a day 3 pick at best, and that is emphasis on the at best. So what would you do with Sam Williams? T for trade him. K for you're going to keep him, give him 1 more year, and keep that stable of edge rushers stacked and not get too thin. T for trade, K for keep. Go vote at the pinned comment of today's show if the ad comes here on YouTube. Jalen Tolbert is next up here. And again, yeah, cool, trade away Mingo. Who wants Jonathan Mingo? Does anyone actually want him? I don't think so. Tolbert has gotten better each season of his NFL career. Now, the bar was pretty low the first 2 years. Can you beat 12 yards? Can you beat 268? Now it's 6'10". And he was actually, I think it was the Sleeper Cowboys account, put out a very accurate meme. No one wanted him as the receiver 2. That's not great. Receiver 3? Okay. Kind of intrigued by that one. Plus Turpin, plus Mingo, Flanoy, Brooks. You can't actually roster, barring injuries, all of those wide receivers. The cap hit for the Cowboys, pretty meager, $3.63 million. Miami Brown got 10, so, it's not a lot of money there. The new team would owe 3.41. I would argue, though, in the end, because you're also still an injury away from being in a bad spot, potentially, especially if you trade away Tolbert in this scenario, that you're better off keeping Tolbert for 1 more year, potentially getting a comp pick next year, by the way, for him, unless someone like a Mingo really balls out in camp in the preseason, and you're kind of moving Tolbert to free up snaps for other players. That's the scenario in which I would do it, not because you added Pickens. At that point, I would keep him as my number 3. Now, speaking of George Pickens, you can pre-order his jersey at chatsports.com/Pickens. It's all through Fanatics, by the way. It says 0. You can pre-order it. It will ship you the finalized jersey number. So you don't actually have to wait. It'll just be like, hey, this is in pre-order phase, and once the number's finalized, we'll ship one out to you. So chatsports.com/Pickens for that. I think everyone who's watched the show knew I was going to put this name on here, and that's Damone Clark, the linebacker. He's fallen out of favor in a way kind of with multiple regimes now. Like, the Cowboys stopped playing him last year. He played a lot in 2023 because of other injuries, but it's for me, my issue, I think it's the Cowboys' issue too. Instincts still aren't there. Maybe that changes this season. And the lack of splash plays aren't there. DeMarvion Overshown is probably not going to be healthy for week 1. In fact, he's not going to be healthy for week 1. But the Cowboys went out and added Kenneth Murray. They added Jack Sanborn. They bring back Maurice Leafau. They added Shamar James. I would bet that there's a chance all 4 of those guys are actually ahead of Damone Clark in terms of the here's who we're going to play next, given there is, especially in the modern NFL, plenty of positional flexibility beyond Mike and weak side and Will and strong side. Like, it's just, they can kind of play all those spots. I think there's a scenario in which Damone Clark gets out of camp and he's, linebacker 4, with Overshow coming back to be linebacker 5 at that point, and special teams impacts like Justin Barron and Buddy Johnson possibly being ahead of him. Now, the money is maybe the biggest issue here. $3.47 million for Damone Clark, $3.41 for the new team. Again, that's kind of the Cowboys' savings. I think he's clearly on the roster bubble. I don't know if the Cowboys can find a taker at that cap hit. And I wonder if this could be one of those preventative contract restructures where the Cowboys say, Damone, we want to keep you, but not at 3.47. Can we bump you down to 1.5 and guarantee it and keep you around? That, I think, actually could be in play, too. So name a player who you want to trade. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Let's mention both safeties here. Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker. I don't really think the level of additions to this room make it all that likely, but there are savings here. I think there is even value from other teams if the money can be worked out, which, again, that's always an issue, right? Wilson, when he is on, the Cowboys win. When he is on, the Cowboys have a tendency to win games because when that level of role player ends up making an impact, it normally means really good things. When he is off, when he struggles, when he does not play well, it becomes a bit more glaring. The George Kittle game, he struggled a lot against tight ends last year. That's kind of a huge issue for me. Malik Hooker, I think, was less inconsistent, but also a little bit less splashy. And that isn't what I want. More impact plays out of Malik Hooker so far. Even though he's been both those guys overall have been good players. They're not great players. Cowboys are a little bit thin. Obviously, Marquise Bell is there. Wani and Thomas are back. Those guys are going to make the team. Elijah Clark, Zion Childress, Mike Smith, I think face kind of tough paths to make the roster, at least as starters. Do you want to hurt your depth significantly? I'm not so sure. Money's also a factor here. Donovan Wilson's going to make $8.65 million from the Cowboys on the cap this year. The new team would owe $7 million. Again, it's about the Dallas Cowboys savings there. It's a lot. Hooker's actually cheaper. Phrasing. 7.75, 5.75. I think that the contracts involved here and the lack of clear-cut impact additions so far here probably mean both these guys stick around. But it might only be for a season. It might only be for a year in which we sit down this time next year and one at most of these guys is still around. Who is the better safety? DW for Donovan Wilson, MH for Malik Hooker. Let me know in the comments of today's show. Finally, it's TJ Bass. And if you had asked me this, a month ago, said no, I want to keep him as an option for me. It actually might be time now. Here are the numbers. Both 2024 and 2023, better run blocker this year, actually a little bit worse in pass protection. Penalties went up. We have seen TJ Bass be a starter in the NFL. I don't think he's a high-end starter. I think he's probably more of your offensive lineman 6 or 7 at most in an ideal scenario. But there's a lot of unideal scenarios across the NFL. The Cowboys have Brock Hoffman as a top backup with the obvious starting 5 as shown. Robert Jones, they paid a decent amount of money to. So that's your top 7. 2 interior guys. Take your pick of Richards or Ajani Cornelius. Nathan Thomas can play guard or tackle. Bass is kind of an interior guy only. If you can get a mid-ish day 3 pick with a team going, TJ Bass can start for us, that's kind of noteworthy to me. And he's super cheap. There's like no signing bonus money there. So with Tyler Booker now in place as the starting right guard for the Cowboys, Brock Hoffman now back to being the top interior swing player, plus Robert Jones is a guard option. In terms of maybe actually being able to get something back, if it is just a day 3 pick or something, I think TJ Bass might be your number 1, like, realistic, still get you something at all trade option for the Dallas Cowboys. Look, when the Cowboys make moves, we will make videos for you. We'll see if a trade happens or not, but it's always, always a good topic of conversation. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now.